Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing part 3 of this finance series that I've been doing here on my channel. Today I have Joe with me. We're gonna do a little Q&A and talk all about money, answer some of your questions. I asked you guys on Instagram for some questions and I have a ton of them. So we're gonna try to see how many we can get through before Joe tells me that he wants to start watching 90 Day Fiancé. Thank you for being here, Joseph.
You're welcome.
So as always, we want to thank Wing for sponsoring today's video. They've been sponsoring all of like our Q&As and it's just been so great because it just gives us an excuse to hang out, chat with you guys and drink some wine. So we've got the box over there, babe, if you want to grab the wines. So while he opens that up for us, if you guys haven't heard of Wing before, this is probably like the 3rd or 4th time that I work with them. We love Wing. They are a wine delivery subscription service, whatever you want to call it. Hold on, I haven't even seen them. So the way that it works is super easy. You go online, you fill out their little palette profile. They ask you some questions about what kinds of wines and stuff you like. And then every month you have a box delivered to your door. So which ones did we get this time?
2 whites, 2 reds.
Let me see, 2 whites, 2 reds.
What do you want to start with?
I'm just gonna show the bottle.
Funk Zone.
Funk Zone, I think we got this one before.
No.
No? We had one that was very similar to this.
Unless you're with another boyfriend.
No, I don't have another boyfriend, but I think I've seen this before, at least something similar. So we got this one, which is just like a blend, like a red blend.
Keep
red
it chill.
Wine blend. Keep it chill. This is a cute bottle. This should be like the theme for 2021, like 2021. Chill out, keep it chill. Very nice. And then what else do we have?
Cape Route.
This is one of the whites, Cape Route. So this is what came in our box this month. And then
Pacificana.
Pacificana.
Or Pacificana.
Pacificana or Kana. Let me see the box, show me the box. So you see this is the box that it comes in. You get your 4 bottles right in here, super convenient, gets delivered to your door. You don't even have to leave your house. Then the wines that you actually get, like you can't get them at the grocery store, you can't get them anywhere else because the way that Wink works is like they work with these specific wineries, these specific winemakers, whatever you want to call them. So they're like exclusive to Wink. Let's do a red one. I'm not gonna do white, I'm gonna do red. Let's do Keep It Chill. Let's do Keep It Chill.
Keep it chill.
For today's video.
Oh, it's supposed to be cold though.
Oh, that would make sense. It says Keep It Chill. Okay, so we'll do Funk Zone. We'll do Funk Zone.
Serve chill, sip chill, be chill.
Thank you very much for that information because I was totally just gonna drink that straight up like that. All right, so Funk Zone it is. And we're drinking them with our little Yeti wine glasses that I showed you guys like in that video of all the things that Joe likes. So these are perfect. Can you just open it? Can you go get the cork thing and just open it, please? Thank you. So anyway, if you guys want to try out the wines, Wink has given us a discount code like they always do. You get 4 bottles of wine for $39 plus free shipping. So all the information is going to be down below in the description box. If you want to check them out, have a date night, do a wine taste testing like I always tell you, like this is like the perfect date night. Just to like watch shows with either your other half or yourself. There's totally nothing wrong with doing this by yourself. So thank you to Wink for sponsoring today's video. And now let's just go ahead and get into the questions. So let me pull them up. But like I said, this is part 3 in this finance series. So I'm gonna link the other 2 down below in the description box if I didn't already mention that. Are you ready to talk about money, Joseph?
Sure. You just tell me what to do and I can spend.
Well, I mean, part of that is
with
true.
my money.
Okay, we're gonna talk
money.
about that. We're gonna talk about that. It is our money, number 1, which I guess will answer that first question that I've gotten asked, which is like whether or not we have separate accounts or joint accounts.
I don't know. No, there's no separate accounts. Well, there is, but ours jointly. All of it.
Yes. So all of the money that we make, whether it's me making it, him making it, it is our money. So let's see, Joseph, if you want to give some insight. So do you have any recommendations on paying off debt? Like how do you pay off debt? Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Don't get into debt to begin with. No.
I mean, that is good advice. To try your hardest, to try your very hardest not to. But back in the day, like when I met you.
I had some debt for sure. And you know, I really mismanaged myself, and you're kind of, I don't know, you just feel like you're kind of, with credit cards it's just easy and you tell yourself, you justify it in your brain, you're thinking about it, you justify it, and you're like, oh, I can just pay it off, you know,
some other time,
really quick. And then you just don't take into account, you know, interest rates. And you know, the reality is that it's highly unlikely, especially if, you know, whatever you're buying is kind of outside the means of what you're, you know, really have to spend on it. I think since meeting you and you know how we really try to focus on our finances and get ourselves out of that kind of debt, my philosophy is if you can afford to pay it, pay it. And if you have credit cards, fine to have credit cards. Some people will say never have a credit card.
Yeah, we definitely do believe in having credit cards, and I talked about that in the video yesterday where I explained like how we do the cashless envelope system and how we still pay everything on the credit card, but we pay it off at the end of the month. So if you want to see that, you can go check out that video.
But if we use the credit card, we pay it in full, the balance at the end of each month.
So that being said, who's the saver and who's the spender?
Well, of course, that's a loaded question.
I mean, obviously I know the answer to that question.
I'm the spender, she's the saver. I spend my money on things that I want, and you just prefer to save it and rub it in my face.
That I have more money in my envelope than you do. Yeah, Joe, we've explained before, he has very expensive taste. He likes all his gadgets and his things, and he likes just buying expensive things, whereas it hurts me, like it pains me to buy like, I don't know, like designer things or things that are gonna be like really expensive. I'd rather just like go to Target and buy stuff that's like $20 over and over again instead of like buying something that's like $500 one lump sum.
But it's budgeted money. It's money allocated that, you know, after we've spent our recurring monthly expenses, whatever's left over, we partition it out to each of our little envelopes, and I get a little slice of the pie, and
so do I.
It's free for me to spend it how I see fit.
Yeah,
like you still make me feel guilty for
I don't try to make you feel guilty. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. And like honestly, like whatever he wants to do with his spending money, he's allowed to do it because it's money that we have. Like he's saying, like it's not like we're putting stuff on a credit card. It's not like we can't afford it. He gets his like little allowance every month, and so do I. And then if he wants to spend it all at once, then by all means, you go ahead and do that. What are some of the more recent purchases that you've made? Because I know that people have asked.
Clothes was a big one.
Yeah, during recently. Like Christmas.
Yeah, during Christmas, I bought a lot of clothes. It was just time. I don't, you know, I can go a long time without buying clothes. I wear the
but then when you do, you spend like $500 on a whole new wardrobe.
I do.
Exactly.
But it'll last a while. I bought this, my last purchase was a tablet. It's hard to explain. It's not an iPad.
It's called the Remarkable 2, right? Is that the second one? So he bought some kind of like notebook that he can take notes.
It's a tablet that's like paper almost, but it's electronic and you can write on it and make notes and everything. So it helps with productivity.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like when we get our allowance every month, like we try to figure out like if there's something that we want to save for, then we save for it. And then once we have the money in there, then we can go ahead and buy the thing. So that's just how we've been doing it. And don't you think that that has worked a lot better than before when like we didn't have these envelopes?
No,
and
I'm a big believer. Very happy with our method for managing our money.
Do you feel deprived, like you can't buy things? Do you feel just
not
so
really
sad?
I don't, honestly.
Well, you shouldn't, because I mean, you get to treat yourself.
I get the things I want.
See,
and I always offer my money to you if you need it.
He's so sweet. Sometimes he's like, do you need something? You want money from my envelope?
I'll go buy you something.
You're very sweet. This is a good question, which I guess is like at the basis of like budgeting and stuff. This person asked, how do you prioritize what needs to be bought first? So yesterday I talked about already like how the first thing you make sure that you have paid is like all of your bills, right? Like the mortgage, your power, electricity, all of that.
Yeah, critical stuff.
Critical stuff. And then after that, I would say in the list of priorities would be food and groceries. Yep. And then after that, we just kind of sit down every month, and normally it's me like starting off the process and trying to figure out what we have going on that month, what we're looking to do. Like, is there a holiday that month? Is there someone's birthday that month? Do we have a trip planned that month? And then kind of prioritizing what, you know, we're gonna need more money for. But then there's other stuff that we really need to like sit down and like talk to each other about, because like one of our categories is like house projects or things for the house, and we have to prioritize. If we have, say, $1,000 in that little mini savings account, how do we want to spend it? Like, what's the first thing on the list? Like in the video that I filmed about my 2021 goals, I shared that there's like a lot of things that I want to do for the house this year, like get our blinds done. I want to repaint the front of the house, like a lot of different things. Like sealing the deck is another one of the things that we have to do. So how do we prioritize like what's gonna come first? Like it's really just sitting down and having that conversation, and what do we have the money for right now, or would we prefer to kind of save up a little bit more to do something else first? So it's all about communicating and, you know, having an idea of what something's gonna cost, and then kind of figuring it out from there, right?
Yeah.
So Joseph, do we have a savings account for our babies? A lot of people ask this.
And you have an envelope for them, but no.
No.
We don't. We probably really should.
Yeah,
honestly.
We're gonna get on that at this point. If you guys, for any reason, are new here, Riley is 3, Jackson is 1. So we don't have any kind of like specific savings accounts or like the college savings plans. Like we don't have any of those yet for the kids. There's still time, like they're still teeny tiny. I know it's gonna be easier if we start earlier, but here in the next, I would say year, probably, we'll start some kind of savings account for the kids. Like right now, one of our big financial goals is finishing off paying our car, paying off my car. So I think once we're done with that, then maybe some of like the extra money that
all we have is the house.
Yeah, then the only debt that we'll have after we pay off the car is our mortgage. So maybe the money that we were putting towards the car before, we can kind of start like a little savings account for the kids. You know, I personally, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you feel differently. Like, I don't think that the kids need to be 18 years old and we have to have like $100,000 saved up for them. I obviously want them to be able to go to college if they choose to go to college. But like, I'm not interested in making sure that they go to Harvard or anything like that. Like, you know, they're gonna have to work and they're gonna have to, you know, contribute, and I'm not trying to make sure that they have like their entire life set for them, you know, by the time that they're 18 years old. So we'll have something saved for them, but not like a ton of money, right?
No.
I mean, obviously if they ever needed help or they needed something, like we have our savings, we have our retirement accounts and stuff, but you know, as long as you have some kind of little savings account for them, you know, if you can, then that's great. So a lot of people asked about investments. Do we invest our money in something? Advice on that?
I don't. Well, I say I don't. Part of my retirement is contributing to the thrift savings plans. Military folks out there know TSP and thrift savings, so.
But it's like a version of like a 401k.
Correct.
It's like a retirement plan that he contributes to with his paycheck.
And you can move it around. There's certain funds that you can contribute to, and it's all based on stocks and the typical, you know, stock market, and it rises and falls.
Yeah.
We've been meaning to kind of move it around a little bit, but keep saying we want to do it.
I know. The thing is, like, we both have like those employer like 401k situations. Like he has his with his job. I have one that I started back in the day, like when
You haven't done anything with it.
Right, I haven't done anything with it, but I have like an old like 401k from when I used to work at the hospital, when I used to work like my first job like right after college, and I haven't contributed to it because I don't work there anymore, and like it's just sitting there, and like it grows because of like the interest situation, but I haven't contributed to it. But point is, like, we both want to sit down and like talk to some kind of advisor soon to kind of make sure that we're putting it in the right places. Like, we're not the kinds of people that like check the stock market every day or like buy individual stocks or anything like that.
No.
But obviously we want to make sure that we're doing the right things with our money so that it can grow as much as it can. So this is interesting. When we first got together, how did money work then? Do you remember back in the day when we were dating? Like when we weren't married?
I used to spend money like crazy.
Well, like you used to buy most of the stuff.
Yeah.
But like back when we first met, I mean, you were making a ton more money than I did. I was making peanuts.
Yeah, and then you started contributing a little bit.
Yeah, then when I moved in with him before we were married, I think I gave you like what, $400 a month or something.
But that was on
to help
you.
with rent, or like to feel like I was contributing. But other than that, like we didn't split rent half because again, I was making a tiny amount of money compared to him.
I didn't ask her to.
He didn't.
Contribute.
But then I think also groceries we would split, or sometimes I would pay for it, sometimes you would pay for it.
Yeah.
I was like, please feed me, I'm poor. But yeah, that's kind of how it worked until we got married. And then when we got married, it was just, you know, bank accounts together. And then it was, you know, how it is now. And then like most of our dates too, like I would say on most of them you would pay. And then sometimes I would be like, no, I got it. But I was really hoping that you would pay.
Yeah.
So this is a good question, and I'm sure it's something that a lot of people, you know, deal with. So this person asked, when you're paying off debt, how do you balance meeting your goal while still having a life?
Depends on how much debt you got.
That would be true. If you've got like...
If you've got a lot of debt, you know, if you want to get out of debt, you're gonna have to experience some hard times and really focus your priorities You gotta focus on the criticals in life: food, water, shelter.
People have asked like how I feel about Dave Ramsey, and we're Dave Ramsey fans. Yeah. Like I explained in the other couple videos.
Slightly modified some of his. Again, credit cards.
Credit cards is one of the things that we differ in. And also like even the answer to this question, like he would tell you straight up.
Gazelle.
He would tell you straight up, if you want to get out of debt, you're gonna be eating rice and beans.
Snowball.
And going nowhere, and basically like not having much of a life until you paid off all your debt. Like go get a second and third job. And you know, I understand that there's a certain amount of truth to that. Like obviously the more you're hustling, the more you're working, the quicker you're gonna pay off your debt. But I still do think that you need to balance, you know, your mental health, your actual physical health.
I'm a little bit more extreme, but
yeah,
I agree. You need to balance your mental health, but you gotta have boundaries.
Yeah, like if you're gonna treat yourself, there's a difference between treating yourself to something like once a month versus like, you know, every week or every couple of days. So finding that good balance. And like honestly, when you're trying to pay off that debt, like at least for me, maybe not everybody, but like it was such a treat to me to see that number in the debt thing like start going down. I got so much satisfaction out of watching the debt get lower and lower and lower. And so for us, like it's been worth it. Like what kinds of debts have we had in the past that we watched like, you know, get to like zero? Like your car.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That was a big one.
For the younger followers on here, I was guilty of it and hypocritical for saying that, you know, I used to buy the brand new cars.
Yes, when we met.
Finance.
How old was that car when we met? Did you just buy it?
My truck?
Your truck.
It was a 2010.
It was a 2010, so you had that car for like
2010.
2 years then when we met.
Yeah.
But that car was like what, $60,000?
No.
No? How much was that car?
38.
Okay, that's still a crap ton of money.
Yeah,
$38,000.
It was like $600 and some odd dollars a month.
Yes, the monthly payment on that car was absolutely disgusting. And for quite some time, I remember like every time that we had to pay that bill, I was like, oh my God, why did you buy this truck? And that's why he's gonna have that truck until it
it's paid off.
Dies. Now it's paid off, yes.
It's been paid off for a while.
It's been paid off for a couple years.
Paid off car.
Yes, but we could have had a paid off car that was like not that expensive. Yes, a $600 something monthly payment is disgusting. And we used to feel it a lot more because a few years back, before I had YouTube, like when I was working in advertising, that I took that pay cut, we really felt it because I went from working at a hospital, I was making a good amount of money, and then I took a $10,000 pay cut to work in advertising. And so obviously the amount of money that we had together was not as much as we used to. So we were like, oh crap, like we have to pay $600 on this freaking car.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you don't have to get into these like giant
car payments will kill it.
You know, it would be good not to.
Those are the easy ones to succumb to.
And so that's like a big reason why also when we moved into this house in Virginia, I've said it a million times, like we didn't get a house at the very top of our price range. And I think that was a very smart decision that we made.
Super happy.
Because we were looking at houses and some of them were probably even like almost an extra 100,000 than this house.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we didn't choose to look at houses like that, or even some of the ones that we looked at, we were like, no, like we're not gonna do this, because a lot more of our income every month would be going towards the mortgage. And so now we have a house that we obviously love, we're very comfortable with it, but our mortgage isn't as big of like a chunk every month. And so we have extra money to, you know,
it's really nice to
do other things and save, and it's been
well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does also have to do with like where you live, right? Because we've talked about it before too. Like if we ever move back down to Miami, our house is probably going to be a lot more expensive because the housing market in Miami is way more expensive, which is why we're trying to save as much money as we can now, in hopes that if we ever do move back down, we'll have like a big, nice, hefty down payment that we'll be able to put on that house. So that is one of our savings goals. Even though we don't have like any real timeline on when we're gonna move down there, we do want to try to save some money for a good down payment. Anyway, I don't know if that even answered the question, but that's just us here rambling. Did you like the wine, by the way?
Yeah.
It's really good. I'm almost done, so if you want to give me some more, you can give me some more. So this is a good question. Do you follow your budget religiously?
No, I don't.
So here's the thing with our budget. You should, in theory, stick to your budget religiously, and every single penny should be accounted for and all of that. We don't stick to our budget 1000%, only because we know that we have that cushion. We know that we have extra money in our savings account, and yesterday I shared that we have a good like 6-month income savings account in our, you know, in our bank.
When I say I don't follow it, I'm not talking like hundreds of dollars. I'm talking like going over budget by like $30, $20.
Well, sometimes, yes, sometimes you go over by like $30 and I'll get mad at him because I'm like, I told you that if you only have $500 in your envelope, you can't spend $530. So sometimes he does that, and then I kind of like take it away from him next month. I give him less money.
That's what I say, just take it away from me on my like next budget.
Yeah, but point is, like, we don't 1000% stick to it because we have a cushion, and on top of the fact that we have a cushion already, when I do my budget, I'm a little conservative with my budget, and I don't budget every single penny that I have. So I kind of build into our budget a built-in buffer because I know that that's gonna happen. I know that he's gonna see something and he's gonna buy it, and you know, he's gonna write it off like
I'm not
whatever.
bad, man.
You've gotten,
it seem
listen,
like I'm like terrible.
No, you've gotten so much better. So much better. But still, sometimes he'll tell me like, babe, I blew my budget. I'll be like, okay, great, what'd you buy?
I'll forewarn her.
Yes, he'll tell me like, oh, I'm looking at this, and then sometimes I'll roll my eyes and I'll tell him like, okay, no, that has to wait till next month.
Kills my heartstrings when she rolls her eyes.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm like, okay, we've done good in other areas, and so I know that we can afford it and it's fine, it's not a big deal. But I build in a built-in buffer. So if I'm looking at how much money we have to work with that month, let's say that we have $3,000 that we get to like figure out, you know, how we want to distribute that into our budget. What I'll do is, instead of assigning the $3,000, I'll assign maybe like $2,800 or $2,900, so that there's like a little extra cushion that we're just kind of putting towards savings, if that makes any sense. This person asked, have you found a big difference in how far your money goes from Miami to Virginia?
I think we're doing a little better than we did in Miami. I think our monthly output went down slightly on our, you know, our necessary month-to-month stuff.
Well, because of like our mortgage.
But I'm not sure how much is incorporated into taxes, because taxes are different here. So yeah, there is the state, the sales tax, or property taxes.
Yeah.
So those are a few $100s that we have to pay for our vehicles.
Yeah, there's like other little taxes that we have to pay for here, and like you have to do things like vehicle inspections, right? In Miami, we didn't have to do that. Like there's other little things like that that we have to do.
But even then, I don't think it's over what we used to. It's either at or below what we used to have to spend.
I don't feel that living in Virginia is like much more expensive.
I don't think it is.
Than when we were in Miami. At least where we were living in Miami or whatnot. Groceries is about the same, but like our standard.
We're gonna be growing our own food soon, so we're gonna be all right.
We bought seeds, you guys. I talked to you guys about our prepper stuff, and yes, we bought seeds. We have 45,000 seeds in the basement. So
not 100%.
That's a different video. Can you give me some more wine, please? So this person asked, have you guys navigated peer pressure in the past? Her husband's friends apparently always ask him to spend money.
Spend money on what?
I don't know. Maybe because we don't have friends. We've never
experienced
peer pressure.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like some people like do have that issue. You know, they are in a circle of friends, and then it's like, oh, let's go on this vacation, or let's go to dinner, or let's go to this thing, and I don't know.
I just set the expectations right up front with everybody that I know that are, you know, my friends are typically just my coworkers of, hey, listen, my wife runs my life. So.
Shut up. I mean, yes, but shut
happy up. Wife, happy life. So for all my coworkers watching this,
I don't know.
Because I've been hearing a lot of my coworkers have started watching your channel.
Oh, really?
And they are cracking up at my inclusion in these videos.
Well, I'm glad that they enjoy it.
Well, as it relates to peer pressure, I don't get peer pressured. I think I just kind of nip it in the bud right off the bat.
Yeah, like if you don't have money to go to dinner every month or every couple weeks, like you just say, hey, like, dude, I can't do that. I'm poor. I don't have money. It's very expensive, you know, like, I don't know.
I just don't ever experience somebody trying to pressure me into spending.
Like at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be stuck paying your bills and paying your credit cards, and like you're the one that has to deal with the repercussions of your finances. So you can't make decisions based on what other people want you to do. That's stupid. That's not very smart. You know, yes, you have your friends and you love them, and maybe you just, you know, suggest alternatives to the expensive things or the things that cost money and try to have fun without spending a fortune. I don't know. Wish I could help you
get more information on that.
Yeah,
question.
I would love to know like what they ask him to spend money on. I would imagine it's stuff like that. Like, hey, go, let's go do Top Golf, or let's go do...
If it's like going out, going to the bar, spending money, going out, doing things, not on like tangible products, but just going out and doing
like going
things.
Out and
I could see that being...
Okay, but sometimes you have to say, no, I'm sorry, I can't, like, I don't have money.
Before I was married, I would probably succumb to that more often than not, so I could see that part.
But
not
if you
anymore.
if you didn't have it, you would have to say, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm busy that day. So in case it wasn't clear, somebody did ask, what's your opinion on credit cards? That's what I struggle the most with. So we love credit cards. Well, not like a bunch of credit cards. Like Joe and I have one credit card. One
credit card, and
we pay everything with that credit card.
I still have a few that I have a zero balance on that I should just cancel. But it's that whole, the speculation that if you cancel cards and it affects your credit. Yeah. My credit is phenomenal, and I really pride myself on that credit. So.
He's very proud of his credit. So that's something that he's worked.
I don't want to affect it.
Yeah, he's worked really hard to have good credit, and your credit is.
Remember the mortgage, when we got our mortgage, you told me that is the highest credit I have ever seen.
Yeah, and then I was like, damn it, like mine was not the highest. Like I was very mad that
his was higher than mine. In the 20 years that he's been doing this job or this business, that's the highest credit he has ever seen.
Whatever, but your credit is important, because I have heard a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't care, like I don't need to have good credit, or I'm too young, I don't need to have good credit. And the thing is, like, you don't understand like that having good credit, it's gonna affect whether or not like you're able to get a house one day down the road. Like the day that you want to get a mortgage and stuff, they're gonna run your credit. They're gonna see if you can afford to pay it, and having good credit just makes things a lot easier for you. And the same with like buying a car. As far as credit cards go, we do like the credit card, and the credit card that we have, like I said, we pay everything with the credit card. Every time that we go to Target, every time that we go to the grocery store, every time that we buy anything online, we use a credit card. We just pay it off at the end of the month. And if you watched yesterday's video, then you know how we track everything so that we make sure that we're not going over budget. But the reason why we do that is because we get points through that credit card. And the point system is great because it's like a travel kind of credit card. So every time that we buy anything, we get points, and then we can use those points on anything that's travel related. So if we stay at a hotel, we can use some of our points to pay off the hotel. And that's what we've used to pay off like all of these times that we've gone back and forth to Miami, from Virginia to Miami, Miami to Virginia. When we stop overnight, it's usually like at a Marriott, Courtside, whatever, Courtyard, one of those like little hotels. And the rate is maybe like, I don't know, 130 bucks or something like that, in the lower hundreds, but we get to pay that off using just points. So hardly ever have we had to pay for that stay. So it's something that has worked out really well, because we're buying stuff that we would normally do on a daily basis, but we get, some of those free hotel stays. So that works out.
In full transparency, I'm not a big fan of it.
He's not as much of a fan.
Just get rid of the credit cards altogether, but
because we have
that's a battle I'm not fighting. Yeah. I tested the waters. I dipped my toe in it, and the water was scalding hot, and I pulled away.
I like it. You get free stuff as long as you're tracking it.
She will get mad at me if I don't use that card.
Yes, because every once in a while he'll go and he'll buy something using his debit card, and I'm like, hello, we could have gotten points on it.
Yeah.
So how much money did you both start out with in the beginning of the relationship? I don't remember. I don't remember how much money each of us had, but we didn't have any student loan debt.
I didn't have much.
Much money or much debt?
Much like saved. I mean, I had a cushion, and it was basically month to month with a
small cushion,
a few $1,000 cushion.
Yeah, it's not like he had a ton of money, and I mean, I
wasn't really struggling, but
I had maybe like $10,000 saved.
I could have done better.
Like that. Yeah, because remember, like I lived at home with my parents before I moved in with Joe, and yes, he's 7 years older than me, but he had always been like, paying for his own apartment and all of that.
Well, until I moved here. I mean, I was 24 when I moved away. I lived at home.
So I probably brought like 10 grand into the relationship, and then from there we just started building, and we did like pay off car that he had. We also paid off, we had put like $6,000 of furniture. Like our first house that we bought, we had to furnish it. So I think I
had some credit card debt.
Yeah, also you did have some credit card debt that we paid off. And then after that, it was just saving and buying things. Well, we saved to put a little bit of money down for the house, right? I think we had to pay a little bit of money down for the house. And then...
This house?
No, for our first house in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
We had to put like,
it was...
closing costs.
We put a few thousand.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a substantial amount because
Yeah.
there's basically no money down.
Yeah, some people have asked like how we saved up money for our first house. Like Joe qualifies for a VA loan because he's a veteran. So since he was in the Coast Guard and all of that, we were able to get a VA loan, which requires a very small percent of the house total down. And so yes, we had to pay like closing costs, I think, but it wasn't more than like $5,000 or $10,000.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
It wasn't a lot of money that we had to come up with. And then when we bought this house, we used some of the money from the sale of our old house, even though we didn't make a lot of money
Well,
on
the
our
VA
old house.
loan, the more you do, the higher. There is no more zero money down. It goes up. So
Yeah,
you
we
have
still had to
start.
come up with some money.
Yeah.
But we had made a little bit on the old house, not a lot at all. I think we probably made like $10,000 on that house from being there for like
Yeah,
3
another,
years or
another
5
mistake.
years.
Probably should never have bought a brand new
Yeah.
house that we knew we weren't going to be in for.
Yeah. But you live and you learn. I guess down the road we can talk more about houses, because if not we'd be here
I would
forever.
honestly, initially I didn't think about it, but
What?
moving forward, just buying a cheaper house and just
Fixing it up.
fixing it up.
Yeah, I think the next house that we buy is most likely just going to be an older home, do more
And
DIY,
renovate.
fix it up stuff.
Renovate.
Yeah, because you don't, like these brand new builds, which is what we bought in Miami, they're very expensive, and then you have to be there for a lot longer in order to like make money on it, at least where we were, and compared to like all the houses that were around. So
I don't regret it.
No, I don't regret it, and I love that house. We were comfortable in it, and it's a learning experience. But what I wanted to say is that in the beginning of the relationship, one of the good things was that at the very least we didn't have student loans, and that's something that I know a lot of people bring into relationships these days. And it was really nice dating someone, I'll be honest, that didn't have student loans, and I didn't have any. So that's like one less thing that we had to tackle. So we're very grateful for that, because I know that so many people have that, and that to this day, 10, 20 years later, they're still paying them off. So I always highly recommend that you try to keep those student loans as minimal as possible. And I know that's not realistic for everyone, and depending on what your career choice is, but like if you have options, and like sometimes you don't need to go to Harvard to get a degree and spend a fortune, like there may be other options. So let's see, we'll answer a couple more, and then I'm sure you want to watch 90 Day Fiance. Look, this person actually asked, any tips to pay off the car faster if money is tight because your husband had to just have this huge truck? So what is it with guys buying these super ginormous trucks and having to pay a crap ton of money on them? I just don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. You're just salesmen, man. They're good at what they do.
Oh, you like the guy? You like the salesman? You got
I don't
you?
like salesmen at all, but before, I mean, you're just enticed by the fact that, it doesn't seem like it's a lot of money that you're just expending a month, but it really adds up when you really look at the big picture.
I think one of the biggest places that you can honestly save, I do believe that it's in your food, in what you're eating and what you're consuming, because people have asked for like savings tips and stuff. Like there's certain things that you don't have a lot of control over. Like once you have your mortgage, you're stuck paying your mortgage. Like you can definitely look at finding a way to sell that car. Wouldn't Dave Ramsey say like try to get rid of that car?
Something I've heard him say on his podcast.
But if you're like trying to find like extra pennies every month, like squeezing more money out of your budget, I think that one of the best ways to do that is to look at what you're eating, do more meal planning, eat really easy, simple recipes. Like go on, you can even go
get
here.
out of paying fast food or on the go
Yeah.
or Uber or all those things. I mean, you just got to work upon finding affordable food, staying away from organic stuff, trying to eat as healthy as you can, but still, looking at a budget, and then prepping for the whole week.
Yeah.
Preparing your food for the week, and
like just looking for
fast food really adds up.
Yeah.
Eating out a lot really adds up.
Like we have a budget item now, like one of our categories is dining out. So yes, we can treat ourselves, throughout the month on things, but like every time that we order Uber Eats, like
it's like $50.
It is. It's
for both of us.
No, it's more than that. Like for dinner, we're gonna pay at least $60 or $70, unless it's like a pizza. Because like with Uber Eats, between the delivery fee, the service charge, the tip, like it's expensive. Joe and I ordered Starbucks. I treated us to Starbucks this morning, and it was like, I got a coffee, you got a coffee, and he got a sandwich, I got a sandwich, and it was like $32 for that. Like my coffee, I looked today, I almost threw up in my mouth. It was like $7 for my grande iced chai tea latte or whatever it is that I got. So if you can cut back on that, that's definitely a place where I feel like you can save money. And then just on your regular groceries, one of the things that I like to do is like go here on YouTube and search $5 meals, and you can find a bunch of recipes for like meals that you can feed your whole family, and they're like $5, like super cheap, very basic stuff. It does require effort. It does require a little bit of trying to get thrifty and, you know, be creative, but I feel like that's probably one of the places where you're gonna save the most money.
Or just tell your son, like his husband, sell the truck.
Can you always sell a truck, or like sometimes it doesn't make sense? Yeah, sometimes.
If you bought it brand new.
Yeah, so those big purchases you should really think long and hard about, because you're gonna be stuck paying them for a very long time.
Doesn't seem like long at first, but it's long.
Yeah, but then later down the road when you're like, oh, I wanna be able to do this, or I wanna be able to go on a vacation, or, you know, maybe you buy the truck, but then you get pregnant, or you have kids that you now have to buy stuff for. Like, it sucks that so much of your money is going towards a vehicle. And like, I know that
especially now with everything going on with COVID, all that stuff, getting really focused on your budget and getting into a good position, getting that emergency fund nice and cushy, because
you don't know what's gonna happen.
There are so many things that are outside of your control, but the one thing you do control and that you influence exponentially is your spending. So if you can control your spending and control, you know, saving, then that you do have control. And should, God forbid, something, you know, again happen with lockdowns or whatever's going on, it's not going to be as much of an impact, and you're going to be so happy with yourself that, you know.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I'm, you know, super happy about, that really is reassuring, is that, you know, we have a 6-month, you know, emergency fund.
And that's if it didn't happen overnight.
No, like, it took a while, but
that's why we put our budget in place, so that we could be a lot more focused on what we're spending, so we had more money that we were saving, and we hustled hard in savings, where like maybe a year ago we didn't have the amount of like spending money for the both of us that we have now. More of it went to savings to build up that nest egg, to build up that little cushion. So now that we're there, now it's like, okay, well, we don't have to save that much because we already have a good amount of savings. So now we get to do fun stuff. And now that's why you guys see that I'm ordering stuff all the time on Amazon and buying, you know, things from time to time. It's because we have the money to do it, and, you know, it's very freeing in that sense. But it's not like it happens overnight. It requires a certain amount of sacrifice.
It's hard.
Yeah, and then eventually it pays off. Neither Joe and I came from like money. Like, we didn't come from rich families. I think, you know, my parents are, what would you consider them, like middle class? You know, my dad owns a business, but we're not like mansion millionaire people and then going to France every month. Yes, we never needed stuff and couldn't get it, but we didn't like come from backgrounds where we're so rich, like let's go hang out on my yacht.
I have a different outlook on money. I've seen firsthand growing up what money can do to people and how it can affect them.
Yeah, and the stress it puts on you when you don't have it, and
the stress, the depression, everything that, you know, has occurred. You know, my family weren't in that bad a shape when I was, you know, born, but through some choices, it got a lot worse and a lot worse. And, you know, it made me rethink my future in the sense that now I'm older and more mature, that I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
And especially for, you know, my kids.
Yeah.
Because it really did affect, you know, the family.
Yeah. So we do the best that we can. We're not perfect. We don't have the answers to everything. But I think right now we're feeling comfortable. We're feeling like we're in a good spot. And I have gotten questions before too, like about me being on YouTube. And obviously now that I'm doing YouTube and that it's more of a full-time thing, I have like an extra chunk of money that's coming into our income. It's been the biggest blessing in the world to have that. And I feel so grateful to every single person who watches the videos and engages. Like, it's been great to be able to bring in some income while I'm working from home, being with the kids and all of that.
But the thing too is that the good thing is you keep it in perspective, because the YouTube thing could go away instantly. So
it really could.
You know, for those out there that, you know, think that that's, you know, a way of life, it could be. And, you know, you got to treat it like a business. But it's, again, back to what you can influence and control. What happens and how YouTube is, you know, it's outside of your control, whatever happens to that kind of stuff. So you have to be super cautious and don't, you know, I personally would not put all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah, and we don't.
It could immediately change and you could be in a very bad position.
Yeah, like obviously I hope that YouTube
so like I'm not quitting my job.
Yeah.
Even if, you know, if we were ever to get fortunate and you were, you know, killing it, I'm not going to quit my job.
Yeah, I'm always very hesitant.
We're just going to save money for our kids.
Yeah,
right?
we'll just save money. But, you know, that's the thing. I do hope that YouTube continues to grow and that I can continue to do this and have it be a good source of income. But we don't rely on it. We're not making lifestyle decisions based on that income. Like, we know that with Joe's job, we can pay for our house, we can pay for the car, we can pay for like all of our bills we can pay for, and his job totally covers that. Everything that I bring in is really just extra. It means that every month we have more money to save for vacation, we have more money to save for doing fun stuff as a family, or we can buy more groceries, we can do our stockpile in the basement. Like all of those things, those hobbies, those interests that we have more money for that. But the essentials, we really try to make it so that his job covers that. Because I would never want to be in a position where, you know, YouTube goes away and then, oh look, I moved into this mansion and now we can't afford it because I'm freaking poor, I have no money. So I don't know, we just try to, you know, I'm very grateful for it while it's here, but I'm well aware that it may not be forever. So that's why we do try to save some of the money for a rainy day if this were to ever go away. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this Q&A. If you guys have more questions, maybe we'll sit down and do a part 2. We'll answer some more questions at some point. But I hope that that just gave you some insight. I hope at the very least we maybe encouraged you to start thinking about money. It's a new year, you know, get those budgets in place. And I do feel like having that budget, I do wanna say, like, not only is it like a financial thing, like it helps you like with your financial health, but I do feel like it's helped us with like our relationship, in that like there's not as much stress about money anymore.
No.
Right? Like we used to get in some arguments and some fights about money, and when you're stressed about money, it's this extra dynamic. Like money is, I think the number, is it the number 1 or the number 2 cause of divorce?
Yeah, the biggest one.
It's like one of the biggest ones. So money in a relationship is very important. Definitely coming up with some plan with your partner, I feel like is a good thing to do. It's not a bad thing to do. So thank you guys so much for being here. Joe and I are gonna keep drinking some wine and watch some TV. So I wanna thank again Wink for sponsoring today's video, sponsoring this Q&A. Again, if you guys haven't tried it out before, wanna try it again, this one was actually very, very good. Whether I've had it before or I haven't, I really enjoyed it. But if you want to try it out, all of the information is going to be down below in the description box. $39 for 4 awesome bottles of wine delivered to your door, free shipping, all of that. It doesn't get more convenient than that. And it's just like a fun thing to do. Like $39 actually for a date night of doing like a wine tasting for 2 people is actually a very good price for a date night. This is like another alternative, something else that you can do, especially right now with the COVID situation. If you don't want to go out and do something, spice up your evening, you can have some wine. So I hope that you guys love Wink as much as we do. So thank you guys for watching. I love you to pieces. We love you to pieces. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys. Bye.